Hey guys, in today's video, we'll be building an AI system that automates my proposals using n8n and Gamma, right? So this is a reproducible production-ready automation that turns discovery calls, also checking calls, onboarding calls, into client-ready slide decks with human-in-the-loop approvals, CRM logging, and scalable architectures for sales, ops, fulfillment, onboarding, and so forth. Right, let me tell you a quick story. And I'm sure many of you, agency owners, coaches, consultants, business owners, you experience this, right? When you are closing a deal, right? You just finished a discovery call, selling your services, and the prospect is one, but your notes are either scattered on paper or across 3 different browsers, and you've had like 5 calls previous to that all ask you to send more information over, right? And 6 p.m. on a Friday night, you don't really want to do this, but you know, and I know that you need to do this to send them the information so that they can send it to their partner, so that they can review it and then come back to you with a decision. This proposal creation tool used to consume entire afternoons for me personally when I was running client acquisition systems, specifically with a 7-figure business marketing agency, right? So we used to have to create these proposal docs on a platform called Gamma, which is a fantastic start, by the way, for creating presentations. All of the presentations you've seen are made with Gamma. And in here, right, so it would include, okay, here's everything that you get, here's the testing plan. You can also see like some of them aren't completely finished, right? This is just some of the products. Here's an example of us sending it out, right? So we have hundreds of these, and it would take hours, like genuinely hours. Like you would get the situation, future goals, challenges, solution overview, so what they would revenue, select the follow call and the Zoom call recording as well in here. This would take so long. However, now what you can do, and averagely, right, on an average week, it will take about 4 hours. And because of slow or inconsistent follow-up after discovery, it will lose about 40% of calls. So what if the entire process ran itself? What if every discovery call automatically generated a polished client-ready proposal deck with your branding, their pain points, quantified ROI, and a strategic implementation roadmap, all while keeping your A&E in control of the final send? Introducing the complete automation architect, right? So this system transforms recorded discovery calls, again, checking calls, sales calls, onboarding calls, whatever it is, into Gamma slide decks through 2 production-hardened n8n workflows. So the first workflow logs every meeting when transcription completes, and the second workflow watches that log, requests human approval via Slack, and executes a proposal generation agent that produces structured content before calling Gamma APIs to render a polished deck. Right? In this video, I'm going to be explaining those 2 specific workflows over here. And again, live demo.
I'm Stephanie, an AI voice assistant from GoHighLevel University AI. I'm here to demonstrate how our voice assistant capabilities can help your business handle customer calls, book appointments, and so much more. To get started and personalize this demo for you, what's the name of your business?
And just very quickly, I wanted to go through very briefly what the setup guide looks like for this workflow, as well as what you need to adjust. So these are the simple steps. Simply put, you want to go into your call recording platform. So you could either use Fireflies, or for us, we use Fathom. You'll get your API code, so Fathom API key. You want to copy this specific Excel spreadsheet that logs the date, time, title, attendees, the gist of the conversation, as well as the status of that conversation, right? And then as well as that, you want to also connect your Slack credentials, add your OpenRouter API keys, and then create your Gamma API keys as well. All within here, here's the ability, this specific workflow allows you to log the things, right? So you can get the information from Firefly to Fathom, log it into an Excel spreadsheet. For the Gamma creation site, so if you did want to create a Gamma proposal doc to that specific prospect or to a existing client, you can go through this specific workflow. Again, you'll go to Slack, you'll say, hey, do you want to send? It's yes or no. It's yes. You'll find it, set the transcription up. You'll go through the proposal generator agent, and it will send it to Gamma. Gamma will create it, send it back to Slack, and also in the Excel spreadsheet. And don't worry, we'll walk it through in the live demo. But for now, let's get back to the Gamma presentation. So why do these 2 work? Well, why do we have 2 workflows instead of 1, you might ask? Well, when you're building systems at scale, architectural decisions matter more than quick wins. So splitting this into 2 workflows isn't about complexity, right? It's about future-proofing your automation infrastructure. So proposal generations were baked directly into the meeting logger, right? You'd hardcode 1 path for all meetings. What happens when you need different behaviors for enterprise deals versus mid-market, right? What about referral calls versus cold, Facebook leads or branching logic becomes a tangled mess. You'll see that multiple branches at the top of the workflow, 1 and multiple downstream paths in workflow 2. That's intentional, right? So the architecture supports account-specific logic, stage-based routing, and parallel processes like quality assurance or internal reporting, all critical when you're managing multiple clients or running an agency. Workflow 1, which is the meeting logger, right? So basically capturing every single discovery call, onboarding call, sales call, intro calls, whatever it is, you're logging it all, right? The first workflow begins with that, where essentially you receive a post request from either Fireflies or Fathom or whatever transcription note taker that you're using to get the transcription. Once it's complete, you want to configure this once So copy the production webhook URL from n8n and paste it into Firefly's developers settings or Fathom, enabling the transcription complete event. It works in 3 steps. So you want to get the webhook, which receives the event. It then fetches the full meeting data. It then logs it to the Google Sheet, and so forth. So we also have, again, you've seen it in many of our workflows before, we have a critical polling loop. The important part of this engineering detail is that it prevents broken output. So the webhook body from your transcription, your Fathom, or note taker, whatever note taker tool you use, only contains a meeting ID and event type. So it doesn't include the full transcription or the AI generated summary yet. So your next node must call Firefly's API or Fathom's API with that meeting ID to fetch the complete meeting payload, transcript, sentences, attendees, title, critically the AI generated gist and action items that Firefly or Fathom produces, right? Since Firefly's AI summary isn't always ready the instant the webhook fires, I implemented a short wait plus a polling loop. So this essentially requests meeting details, checks if the AI gist exists, and if not, you can have to wait 15 seconds and retry again. So this simple poll ensures we only proceed when summary and action items are available. Basically, wait. That's it. Like basically, you essentially want wait. That's it. To get the information and to make sure that all the information is included in the log meeting. Then next up is obviously the data cleanup, right? So after confirming the AI summary is ready, we normalize the data before writing it to Google Sheets. Firefly tends to return nested JSON objects for speakers and attendees, not ideal for spreadsheet columns or downstream readability. So we use, again, I talked about it, right? So we use that node to essentially organize the information that we get from our note takers. That's it, done. That literally is it. It's super simple, just keeps a record, which leads us to the next workflow, which is the proposal generator, where you can get the transcript and then turn that into the deck. Because not every single discovery call you're going to have is going to require something like that. Although I would recommend it. That'd be nice for your prospects to have that record and that the call information. But you get my point. The second workflow triggers whenever a new row is added to the Google Sheet, so it monitors for changes, fetches the most recent meeting data, and cleans the transcript into human readable formats. And then obviously initiates the approval plus generation pipeline. So it works in 4 stages. There's the sheet update trigger, which leads to the advanced cleanup code node, right? Which then goes to Slack for approval, right? So it's a yes or no button. And then finally it goes to the proposal agent and the Gamma API. So if it's approved, it runs the agent, calls Gamma, updates sheets with deck links and statuses. The Slack approval gate, my favorite. This is why, you hear how on a side tangent, right? You hear how AI is going to take over the world and your job's going to be replaced. No, I don't think so. Unless you're a VA or admin VA for sales teams, it does replace your job. But this essentially keeps humans in the loop and quality assuring, making sure everything is on track, right? Because you decide as the deal owner, as the person who just done the sales call, as the appointment setter, as the onboarding agent, like you're the one deciding whether or not to send that proposal to that client or not. If you do click yes, right, you essentially pass the clean transcription to the proposal generator agent. In this case, it's critical because it combines 3 reasons: quality control, cost management, so not every single unqualified lead or lead that doesn't request a proposal deck gets sent this, and then obviously accountability, right? So every generated deck has an explicit approval timestamp and user. Perfect. So when you are writing the proposal agent, of course you have to prompt it, right? And treat this agent almost like your most experienced sales manager or sales rep, right? I want to give it strict, well-defined roles with clear constraints, tone, guidelines, and output structures, so that the agent's job is to transform a raw transcript into an 85-95% completion, client-ready proposal, text block optimized for slide conversion. And obviously, to have your links, right? So if you have a website with your pricing on it, or the contract, or the whatever it is the client requests, you can share those links in the Gamma doc recording, so that the prospect has all the information they need to make a decision. Yeah. So any constraints, client-facing, some constraints again is that no follow-up questions to make confident. Oh, so these are the constraints. That's the structure and that's the tone. Perfect. Calling Gamma's API, being able to turn text into polished decks. So after the agent outputs structured proposal text, we call Gamma's generated API via a HTTP request node in n8n. So I start with a Gamma's curl example from the docs, and then I swap in dynamic variables from that workflow. So key API fields are here, and then engineering best practice is to run and replace / escape on agent outputs to strip problematic characters, so news lines, unescaped quotes, etc. To set responses to auto share, right? A view comment link with internal ops and email, and then to store the Gamma deck URLs in Google Sheets for CRM tracking. Gamma's APIs has dozens of options. So think of this like a product filter. Choose what you need, the theme, the image, the text mode, and leave the rest as default. So the goal is repeatability and branded output every single time. So once you've generated it, right, there'll be three things that occur. There'll be a Slack notification, right? So essentially we close the loop with three critical updates that keep the team informed and your CRM data clean. There's a Slack notification, so your Gamma deck is being generated to let you know. Google Sheet update, so once it's generated, it attaches the Gamma share link and records the meeting ID. And then finally, there's the email invite. So Gamma automatically sends a view/comment link to the internal ops email you configured. And then obviously you yourself receive direct access in that inbox. So there's no need to hunt down Gamma's dashboard. And then what the Gamma deck actually looks like, right? So typically, based on what you say in the prompt, these are the four main categories that it will include. Title and executive summary of the conversation, quantifiable ROI, proposed solutions, and implementation roadmaps. The deck gets you about 90% of a send-ready proposal, and sometimes graphs need color tweaking or language, need to add specifics that the proposal or the prospect requested on the sales call, or let's say you're doing an onboarding call and they required XYZ, this will get you there. And as well as that, if you weren't happy with it, right, you sort of decline the generation, but now you actually want that deck. What do you have to do? Because every meeting row stores the meeting ID in Google Sheets. So now you can simply trigger the proposal pipeline anytime with a simple form or manual input. So if I show you this here, you can actually submit it on the forms over here. You'll still get the information, cleaning up, and then carry on with the workflow. Pretty cool. So what you do is you can break it down in 4 steps. You can paste the meeting ID in the n8n form or embed that form into GoHighLevel to you. You can then have that workflow fetch meeting data. So again, same API call to Fireflies and Fathom. You can skip the Slack approval and it can go straight to outputting the deck and updating the sheet. Why do we need to stabilize and make this scalable? Technically, the second workflow has 2 input paths. There's route A, which is manual with the form submission, and route B, which is the natural trigger from Google Sheets. So both paths need to provide the same downstream variable, which is the transcript and meeting ID, to the agent and Gamma nodes. But in n8n, I basically solve this with a set node that normalizes input into a single object. So object C always contains JSON transcript and JSON meeting ID, whether A or B I provided them. So that lets the proposal agent Gamma call and update node references JSON.transcript without conditional logic scattered everywhere. This matters significantly, right? Because you can standardize early so that the rest of the flow is simple, robust, and without that normalization, you basically need an if branch at every single downstream node, checking did this come from A or B. That's pretty annoying. So yeah, that's it. I would recommend running 10 test proposals before doing or sending them out to any prospects, right? You want to refine the ecosystem prompts and you want to lock down your Gamma theme to match what you like. Also, again, like I said, if you wanted to add specific case studies, specific URL links that you want, make sure to add that in these prompts as well to always send it out to your prospect. And last but not least, if you want to take this to the next level, like I mentioned, case study integrations, right? So give the agent read access to the vector database or Airtable or past projects that they can pull up that are relevant to that person that you're speaking to. You want to have high-level sync, a pipeline sync, so you want to push a short proposal summary into high-level as a notes section on that lead. So whenever your sales reps go in, they can see the notes that the discovery call has been completed or proposal has been sent. And then last but not least, if it's a huge deal, right? So you can have deal size branching logic, which essentially routes enterprise deals to a different slide template with a bit more technical depth, compliance sections, and security appendices. So mid-market deals get a streamlined ROI-focused deck. Perfect. Brilliant. I hope that all makes sense. I hope you found this valuable. I've truly found this extremely valuable for us because I know, if we had this automation, we would have saved us a lot of time a couple years ago when we were manually sending out all these proposals or manually send out post onboarding recordings. Like this could have just done it for us. So I hope this does it for you, for your sales team, for your, if you run a call center, again, you can send this out to your team. If you're doing onboarding calls, you can send this. I wouldn't say it's a proposal deck, it's more of a post-call summary deck, which just adds that next level of professionalism. And as well as that, if there are ever any disputes for online businesses, like if you have any disputes, you can use this as evidence that you have been sending out material to your clients. You can store this up as proof or evidence that you have been collaborating and working with a client, because you have the post-call recording proposal Gamma docs with the call recordings and whatnot in there. So hope this is helpful. If you do have any questions, find us in the community, leave a comment, jump on a call with us if you do have any questions. And if you want this built out for you, there'll be somewhere in the link in the description to learn how you can work with us. Thank you very much.